Ever feel like going to the doctor is like fighting a losing battle? You get prescriptions, but no one's really talking about like why you got sick in the first place.
It's a common concern, and it's at the heart of what we're diving into today.
Right. We're talking about the good old U.S. healthcare system, the role of, what we eat every day and why preventing illness often feels like, I don't know, some forgotten secret.
It's like trying to solve a puzzle but missing half the pieces.
Exactly. So we've dug up some seriously eye-opening sources that reveal just how unhappy folks are with American healthcare. And get this, it's been bad for like decades.
It's not a new phenomenon, that's for sure, and the numbers paint a pretty bleak picture.
70% of Americans, 70% feel failed by the system. That's like a failing grade in anyone's book.
It's a staggering statistic,
Yeah.
and it really makes you question why, despite spending the most globally on healthcare per person, our actual health outcomes are, well, lagging behind.
It's like we're paying top dollar for like a beat up used car. It just doesn't add up, and don't even get me started on the cost.
It's the number one barrier to people actually getting the care they need. People are delaying appointments, skipping treatments, all because of the
It's
cost.
like a never-ending cycle. You put off care because it's expensive, your health gets worse, and then you need even more expensive interventions down the line.
Precisely. It's a reactive approach, focusing on treatment rather than prevention.
And speaking of prevention, can we talk about the, elephant in the room? Our diets, the standard American diet is like a fast track to chronic diseases.
It's true. Fast food, processed foods, sugary drinks, they're everywhere. And sadly, our bodies weren't designed to handle that constant onslaught of, well, junk.
Some experts are even calling it a fast food genocide. And it's not hard to see why, right?
Not at all. There's a direct link between the overconsumption of these foods and skyrocketing rates of obesity, diabetes, heart attacks, even mental health issues.
It's like we're slowly poisoning ourselves with every bite. And for those living in so-called food deserts, accessing fresh, healthy food is like mission impossible.
It's a sad reality. Imagine being told your lifespan could be 45 years shorter just because of where you live and your ability to access nutritious food.
That's heartbreaking. And it highlights just how intertwined our zip code and our lifespan can be.
It's almost like, it's by design.
Right. It's like this system, this whole food environment, is actually working against us.
It's pretty clear that the food industry, they've gotten really good at making food addictive.
It's true. Like, how can you resist that perfect combination of salty, sweet, and fatty?
Our brains just light up, right? Dopamine starts flowing and we're hooked. And then that creates this cycle of craving and consuming.
Ugh, so we're battling our own biology here. That's a tough one to win.
Well, the good news is knowing how it works can be a huge help.
Okay, that makes sense. But you mentioned oil earlier, and I gotta say, that one surprised me.
Yeah, oil. It's sneaky. All those little tablespoons, they really add up.
1,000 times more soybean oil today than, like, a century ago.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
And it's not just the quantity, right? It's what happens when you heat some of these oils, especially when frying.
You're talking about those aldehydes, right?
Exactly, aldehydes. And they've been linked to some serious health problems, even cancer.
Yikes. Okay, you've officially scared me away from fried food. But what about those healthy oils?
Marketing. It's tricky. But the key is to, look beyond the hype. It's not about memorizing good oils versus bad oils. It's about choosing oils that are, minimally processed, closer to what our ancestors would have used.
So like olive oil, avocado oil, those are usually good bets.
Exactly. Cold pressed, extra virgin. Look for those words on the label.
Got it. So knowledge is power, even when it comes to oil.
Hmm.
But we got to circle back to healthcare for a sec. Could the system itself be part of the problem?
Well, let's think about it. We often see this pattern of treating symptoms with pills instead of really getting to the root of the problem.
It's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg. It's not really fixing anything.
Exactly. And guess who benefits from this pill-pushing approach?
Pharmaceutical companies.
Right, right. And then there's that whole revolving door between the government and the industry.
It's enough to make your head spin. So where do we go from here? This
Well-
feels huge.
Well, there is hope. We can make different choices, both as individuals and as a society. We can start taking back control of our health.
Okay, tell me more about these glimmers of hope. I need some good news. What can we actually do?
Well, first things first, we can start with our forks. What we eat has a huge impact.
So every time I choose a salad over fries, I'm making a statement.
Absolutely, you're voting for your health. But it's not just about food, right? Movement is key too.
Wait, you mean just like walking?
You'd be surprised. Even 7,000 steps a day can make a huge difference.
Wow. Okay. See, simple stuff can make a difference.
It totally can. And don't underestimate the power of sleep. We're a chronically sleep-deprived society.
Tell me about it. But sometimes you got to burn the midnight oil, you know?
I get it. It's about finding balance. It's about creating healthy habits that support us, not wear us down.
This is great advice, but what about those who are already struggling with health issues? Is it too late?
It's never too late. Our bodies are incredibly resilient. Even small changes can have a huge impact.
Okay, phew. So it's about progress, not perfection. I like that.
Exactly. And it should be enjoyable, not a punishment.
Absolutely. But what about the healthcare system itself? How can we push for more prevention?
We have to be proactive patients. Ask questions, do your research, find practitioners who align with your values.
So no more blindly following doctor's orders.
Exactly. Be an advocate for your own health. And don't be afraid to explore all your options.
I love that. Taking charge.
Right. And we have to challenge this over-reliance on pharmaceuticals.
Pills aren't always the answer.
Exactly. We need to prioritize our well-being, not profits.
Totally. But changing a system this big feels impossible.
It seems that way, but remember, these systems were created by people, which means...
We can change them.
Exactly. It starts with small actions, every single day. The choices we make, the conversations we have.
It's those ripple effects. Our actions can create real change.
Precisely. And that wave, it's already building.
Okay, that's actually really inspiring. But let's shift gears for a second, talk about autoimmune diseases.
It's a growing concern, and, there's a lot of evidence that suggests our modern lifestyle plays a huge role.
Wait, so what we eat and how we live can actually trigger our immune systems to, attack us?
In a way, yes. Things like gut health, inflammation, exposure to toxins, it can all contribute.
Wow, that's a little scary. So what can we do to protect ourselves?
Well, it starts with addressing those underlying factors. Focus on gut health. Eat a diet that's anti-inflammatory.
Back to basics.
Exactly. We want to create a body that's resilient.
I love that, but this can all feel overwhelming, Where do we even start?
I know, it's a lot. That's why it's crucial to tune out all the noise and focus on those fundamentals.
So what are the fundamentals exactly?
It's simpler than you think. Eat real food, move your body, prioritize sleep, manage stress, and nurture your relationships.
Okay, sounds easy enough, but it's not always that simple.
True, it takes effort. But start small. Be kind to yourself. It's a journey.
No more beating myself up over every little slip-up.
Exactly. Progress, not perfection.
I needed to hear that. But there's so much conflicting information out there.
You're right. Be a discerning consumer of information.
Okay, so how do we know what to trust?
Look for evidence-based advice from reputable sources, and be wary of anything that promises a quick fix.
No more fad diets.
Exactly. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Words to live by. But what about genetics? Don't our genes play a role too?
They do, but it's not a life sentence. Our genes might load the gun, but our lifestyle choices pull the trigger.
Wow, that's powerful. So even with a family history of health issues, we still have control.
Absolutely. We can influence how our genes are expressed.
Okay, that's actually very empowering. But what about those times when we, fall off the wagon? We're human. It happens.
Of course. Don't dwell on it. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and keep moving forward.
So much for guilt trips.
Exactly. Be kind to yourself. It's about progress, not perfection.
I love that. Resilience. But with all this talk about personal responsibility, let's not forget about, the environment.
Oh, absolutely. Our environment plays a huge role in shaping our health, often in ways we can't control.
So it's not just about what I eat, but also the air I breathe, the water I drink, even my neighborhood.
Exactly. Access to healthy food, safe housing, these things matter. We need policies that support everyone's well-being.
It's a collective effort, not just on us as individuals.
Precisely.
This has been an incredible deep dive, so much to think about.
It's been a pleasure.
As we wrap up, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from all of this?
Empowerment. You are not powerless. You have the power to make choices that support your well-being, to advocate for change, to create a healthier world.
I love that. We have more agency than we realize.
We do, every single one of us.
It's a lot to process, right? We've covered so much ground.
It's really inspiring, though, wouldn't you say, to realize that we're not just like passive bystanders in all of this.
Right. We actually have the power to, take charge of our health. But it can feel overwhelming. Like, where do we even begin?
Well, I think the first step is always knowledge, right? You can't make good choices if you don't have all the facts.
So we got to become, Help detectives.
Exactly. Question everything, read beyond those catchy headlines, and make sure your information is coming from credible sources.
Okay, so no more falling for those fad diets or like those miracle cures you see online.
Those are the worst. Remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Good advice. So once we've got the knowledge, what's next?
Well, we got to talk about food, right? What we put into our bodies is so important.
It all starts with those grocery carts.
Right. Choosing whole, unprocessed foods, ditching the sugary drinks, and being mindful of those sneaky added sugars and unhealthy fats.
Like a game of hide and seek with our food sometimes.
It really is.
Hmm?
So focus on those colorful fruits and veggies, whole grains, lean proteins, and of course, healthy fats.
And let's not forget H2O.
Absolutely. Staying hydrated makes a world of difference.
Okay, so we're eating right, we're hydrated. What else?
We gotta move those bodies.
Exercise. Do we have to?
It doesn't have to be torture. Just find something you enjoy, even if it's just a walk in the park.
Okay, walking I can do.
See? And don't underestimate the power of de-stressing and getting enough sleep.
Easier said than done sometimes.
It's true, but it's so important. Make it a priority. Your body and mind will thank you.
So it's about creating healthy habits that, like, actually make us feel good.
Exactly. And remember, we're social creatures. Connection matters.
You mean like spending time with friends and family? That
And
counts.
it totally counts. Those relationships are crucial for our well-being.
Okay, this is actually making me feel better already.
It's amazing how even small changes can make a big difference. And, it's been great exploring all of this with you today.
Likewise. But before we wrap up, any last words of wisdom for our listeners?
Just remember, health isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Be kind to yourselves. Celebrate those small victories. You've got this.
Such great advice. Well, folks, that wraps up our deep dive into health and well-being. Remember, knowledge is power. You have the power to make a difference for yourselves and for the world around you. So go out there, make those healthy choices, and keep on diving deep.